ball. Relative aggression there from Dean Elgar.
It's the first real loose shot from Dean Elgar. With the width on offer, he let the hands go. It's gone way over that gully region with no real danger.
So that's interesting. Let's talk about that. You call that you think that's a loose shot? You don't think he's decided to go up and with the bounce?
No, I think it probably got a little bit big on him. As you can see, the ball just kept on climbing on him. Fortunately for him, it plays away from his body. Hit it in the gap.
Well played. He's right on the top of that one. So, Vern, would you deliberately, when you had the pace for it, say in the first half of your career, deliberately bowl a ball like that, if a short, not too wide ball, just to see if you can get it big enough to have someone playing an over-ambitious shot and it fly the gully?
Yeah, I think it also depends on the pace of the wicket, the pace of the surface, judging on your length that you've bowled a little earlier. But I think in general, the Bangladeshi bowlers has been a touch short, so did he do it intentionally? I don't think so. I think he's probably just trying to hit a good length, but drag the touch short.
Yeah. Epidot the bowler and down the leg side. And would you, as a batsman,
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং লাইভটি শেয়ার করুন।
I think it is a trigger, especially a first morning of a test match. You hear people talking about intent, about being nice and positive. So if you recognise something, you've got to stick to your game plan if that's your game plan. So generally, as an opening batter, you'd want to be leaving and be consistent and sure in your thoughts if it was short, so you can leave sort of back a length that's climbing over your stumps. You recognise something like he's just recognised that, jumped on it, and that's bread and butter for Dean Elgar.
Well, it's the prize for bowling too short, and that's what Bangladesh are kicking themselves about this morning. 41 for no.
মহারাজ নতুন রেড কিং কুলিং অয়েল, এতে রয়েছে এক অনন্য পাওয়ার কুলিং টিউব যা কুলিং ক্রিস্টাল সমৃদ্ধ। হবে রাজার মতো ঘুম। অনন্য পাওয়ার কুলিং টিউব যুক্ত রেড কিং কুলিং অয়েল।
And this is part of Saurabh Ev's makeup, his game plan. Good setup with the feet, especially against the seamers, and then just looks for anything short. Not trying to overhit that, helping it on its way. It's got that slight forward push, and then just that rock back. He knows his ground well. Found numerous boundaries over the years here.
And the 32 you talked about.
Left-handers there, because they change, they question when they take guard, the angles they ask as left-handers, they're in a pound position. The 32-year-old, he knows his game, he knows his game plans. He's got first-class hundreds under his belt. He knows how to get and churn runs out.
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং লাইভটি শেয়ার করুন।
In first class cricket that might only improve. Now he's got the confidence of test match runs behind him. The three great innings of the modern era, I think, are Brian Lara's 150 to win the test for West Indies against Australia in Barbados in 1999. Crystal Pereira's 150 here to win the test for Sri Lanka, and Ben Stokes' 119 he made to win the test for England at Headingley against Australia 2-3 years ago. And all left-handed. And all incredible match-winning innings, all carrying elements of the tail, stories that evolved throughout the innings of ebb and flow. Lara, Pereira, Stokes, all left-handers.
Left-handers game, Mark.
Not if you can nip it back at them, Byrne. .45 for no wicket.
You'd think I'd be you'd think I was left-handed the way I talk about the left-handers. I just like the opportunity or the angle that they bat with. You know, if you look around the world, you look at the opening batters that have been successful around the world, and how many are littered with left-handers. That's got to tell you a story. That's got to tell you that they ask questions with the seam bowlers.
Well, there's such an interesting table, not just for the fact that Australia are dominating it. They've played, obviously, fewer games, just by the amount of cricket played by India and England. Say in Durban weather that this isn't the height of the summer, or indeed anywhere near the height of humidity.
It's a lot easier, a lot quicker, and he looks in good touch.
And he's timed that beautifully as well. Honestly, short and wide, followed by leg stump half volley, is an opening batsman's dream double. That's the play.
It also brings up the 50 for South Africa. This is a shot that we've come accustomed to. Dean Elgar, he goes straight in at the pass. He's so strong that he's not going to miss out on that. it's also a good sign of inexperience, Mark.
Shot. He's really struggled ever got with his length here. You know, they're just happy to jump on that short and wide one. So if you're cruising along nicely.
I think it's also a good sign of inexperience, Mark.
Shot. He's really struggled ever got 57 after 12. You know, they're just happy to jump on that short and wide one.
Beautiful position, get on top of the bounce.
So if you're cruising along nicely.
I think it's also a good sign of inexperience, Mark.
Shot. He's really struggled ever got 57 after 12. You know, they're just happy to jump on that short and wide one.
Beautiful position, get on top of the bounce.
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং লাইভটি শেয়ার করুন। বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং লাইভটি শেয়ার করুন।
I think Eberdol will be out of the attack now. He's 6 overs for 30. Expensive last over. There's 6 boundaries already scored against him. How many left-handers are there? Right. Left, Cook, Sangakkara, the first 2. We'll have another look in a minute. I suppose it's just as interesting to see how many right-handers are there in a way, you know, that
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং
5 and 5 is a split, isn't it?
I think when you look around, the last 20
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং
5 and 5 is a split.
Hayden's, I think when you look around, Strauss, the last 20
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে
Hayden's, I think when you look around, Strauss, the last 20
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে
I skimp a 3 for 1. I find it quite interesting in terms of how many right-handers there are in the world. So I think it's about 75-80%. And then you've got left-handers that are quite dominant if you're talking about a pool of left-handers. You know, only 20% or 15% of left-handers in the world, but they're dominating that opening spot.
Yeah, just to jump in there, Mackie, I think it's also, you just mentioned the percentage of left-handers that you have at your disposal as a bowler as well. So certainly training those angled bowling at left-handers. As bowlers, we get so accustomed to bowl at right-handers at nets, and it always become the trend.
Tried switching the ball around with more pace and a better length at Dean Elgar.
Yeah, I think now that you mention those target bowling, if you look anywhere in the world and you say, you know, a guy's going, I'm going to do target bowling, you generally set up for the right-hander. You don't put your shoes or your beacon or whatever it is. It's generally set up for the right-hander.
Well, absolutely. I was always wanted to cry out at nets when I have left-handed to bowl at. Because very often when Graham or Vera walks out of the net, you've got Cullis de Villiers, right-handers to deal with. So, yeah, to train bowling at angle to the left-hander is a key aspect of the game, and able to bowl it in the mats is obviously a big challenge.
It's a heck of a little order when you think about it, isn't it? I know it's we're winding back the clock, getting all nostalgic here, but Amla, Cullis to Villiers, 3, 4, 5, bang, bang, bang. Not so dusty, huh?
Well, you sort of look at that, and generally someone will say, like, you know, what's a good score? You look at those averages and you put them together. You say 50 plus 48 plus 50 plus, you're looking at 300 plus taken care of.
Jacques is late. Jacques, it was 56, isn't it?
डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अब डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अभी डाउनलोड कर लें। डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अब डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अभी डाउनलोड कर लें। डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अब डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अभी डाउनलोड कर लें। डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अब डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अभी डाउनलोड कर लें। डाउनलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल फ्री। तो भाइयों अब डाउनलोड करें और देखें।
I mean, we saw from the likes of a Tuskin and Sharaful and the bulk of the seam attack and the ODIs, complete and utter discipline. Today, that discipline is gone from the Bangladeshi seamers.
Yeah, I think quite often for them that when they see a tinge of grass, as we found here this morning, nice green tinge to it, seems like a lot of balls, they've been searching for different things, in swing, out swing, over pitch too short. Got one of the best guys ever to do it in the commentary box with us this morning. We're just consistent when the surface has something to offer.
Tuskin switches ends. He comes from the Old Fort Road end.
Yeah, the word, we're just talking to Sean off air, and I'm saying about bowling on green pitches, what did you need most of all? And it was a word that perhaps took one by surprise when he said patience.
Yeah, you do. I mean, we have that problem when we go to the subcontinent as spinners. We think, okay, well, let's get the guy who can turn it the most. No, you just want the guy who can land it the most, because if you land it the most, there's enough to work with. The game plan almost needs to be simplified when you've got conditions that are such in favour of you as a bowler. And I just think through to the keeper would have been the theme. Alan Donald would have been encouraging, and that's why I think the drinks break could have come at a good time, because maybe he sent a message out with the 12th and 13th and 14th man to go and have a word with the different bowlers.
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ ম্যাচটি ফুল এইচডিতে দেখতে প্রথম কমেন্টে ক্লিক করুন এবং লাইভটি শেয়ার করুন।
That's the problem. I also mentioned that subcontinent wise they often look to target the stumps, and then the ones that are short and wide come from trying to bowl too quick or trying to be too effective. But there's nothing that's been scored off anywhere near top of off. If you land a top of off, there's no boundaries coming unless it's a thick edge past the slip cord.
I can only recall the one drive that Dean Elgar was just a push straight back past the bowler that went for 4.
I can remember the one delivery in particular. There was one from around the wicket, got Dean in no man's land, found the edge. I think it squirted off for 2 down to third man. That's the blueprint, and that's where they need to be, without being too restrictive. I mean, they do have to be allowed the opportunity to show flair every once in a while, try and swing it in, try and trap them in front, or go for the Yorker or the bouncer. 75% of the deliveries needs to be patience and giving them nothing.
75% of the runs have come in boundaries, and that'll give you an indication of the indifference of the Bangladeshi bowling and the dominance of the South African batting to date.
Much better this over from Daskin Ahmed. 4 balls through to the wicket keeper, outside off stump. So, as Sean Pollock indicated, that drinks break coming at a good time for them. Just to reassess, perhaps a message from bowling coach Alan Donald upstairs. And it's been a good start since then.
I'm also just wondering, Sean, when you haven't played on a ground, we saw Tuskin up at Centurion in the one-day, started the commentary box and switched to the Hennep's end after just 2 overs and bowled better from that end. Switch of ends could help him here. Pause with that thought.
Yeah, definitely. You know, sometimes it's, if you've had a bad start, it's actually perfect to go down to the other end where the slate's almost clean and you can start again.
He's also got the breeze in his favour now. There's not much of it. It's a steamy day here in Durban, and what flags are on the flagpoles at the moment, they look pretty limp, but there was just a suggestion of a southwester picking up that will bring late afternoon cloud cover here in Durban, as is so customary. The end of the 14th. It's 60 for none.
Brings me nicely to my point is that this game should be being played with a pink ball starting at the same time, so that any light issues we might have had or should have be insignificant. Brings me nicely to my point is that this game should be being played with a pink ball starting at the same time, so that any light issues we might have had or should have be insignificant. Brings me nicely to my point is that this game should be being played with a pink ball starting at the same time, so that any light issues we might have had,
because pink ball is the option, so that you can play under lights and just with the light face game. The other option, of course, is start early starting at the same time, so that any light might have been, because pink ball is the option, so that you can play under lights and just with the light face game. The other option, of course, is start early starting at the same time, so that any light might have been, because pink ball is the option, so that you can play under lights and just with the light face game. The other option, of course, is start early. got through the batter that somewhat ill-advisedly. And nearly caused his downfall.
Half an appeal from behind.
Yeah, it's the first real loose
The
shot.
width was there, and Al got through the batter that somewhat ill-advisedly. And nearly caused his downfall.
Half an appeal from behind.
Yeah, it's the first real loose
The
shot.
width was there, and Al got through the batter that somewhat ill-advisedly. And nearly caused his downfall. Half an appeal from behind.
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ
Real loose
The
shot.
width was there, and Al got through the batter that somewhat ill-advisedly. And nearly caused his downfall. Half an appeal.
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ
Shot was there, and Al got there, and Al got somewhat ill-advisedly.
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ
Shot was there, and Al got through the batter that somewhat
বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ 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 বন্ধুরা এই লাইভ
और देखें पूरा मैच बिल्कुल लोड करें और देखें और पूरा मैच बिल्कुल
think part of Sorrel Erve's makeup is technically very sound. It's just that ability to control the mind. And now runlessness might just be gnawing away at his psyche to some degree. Oh, what a beauty. They've suddenly found something. Found the ideal length. It's the perfect delivery. More of this. This is what we need to have seen in these first 15 overs this morning. It's an absolute peach. On the angle, the pitches, you have to play it. It's full enough, you can't look to leave at all. And on the angle, just goes across here. Great delivery. And the pitch can do this fine. Fair pitches, you have to play it. It's full enough, you can't look to leave at all. And on the angle, just goes across here.
Somewhat surprising we haven't seen more of it. The indicator.
Fair pitches, you have to play it. That length enough. And on the angle, just goes across here.
Somewhat surprising we haven't seen more of it. The indicator.
Fair pitches, you have to play it. That length enough. And on the angle, just goes across here.
Somewhat surprising we haven't seen more of it. The indicator.
Fair pitches, you have to play it. That length enough. And on the angle, just goes across here.
Somewhat surprising we haven't seen more of it. The indicator.
Fair pitches, you have to play it. That length enough.
Somewhat surprising we haven't seen more of it. The indicator. Somewhat surprising we haven't seen more of it. Somewhat surprising we haven't seen more of it.
अपलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच भाइयों, अगर आप इस मैच को लाइव देखना चाहते हैं तो मैंने लाइव ऐप की लिंक को कमेंट बॉक्स में पिन कर दिया है। अपलोड करें और देखें पूरा मैच डाउनलोड करें और देखें। अगर आप इस मैच को लाइव देखना चाहते हैं